We're all mimes in some way or form, acting out our passions, beliefs, or dreams, basically who we are, and all without words, whether we realize it or not. On this podcast, I speak with a few good folks who have an idea of what their particular mime is and talk about it here with me on Meet the Mimes. I'm your host, Zeno T, and thanks for listening.
Boom.
Hello, Amos.
Hi. Anazine. I'm one of the ones, the few that say
Yes,
Anazine.
you are, and it's refreshing.
And I know a lot of people say zine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my fiend.
Just the regular people do.
Yeah, just the regular people do. But you and I have close mimes.
Yeah, close.
So,
Very close.
so what's going on today?
Well, today it's been a nuts day. I started the day starting with a little research on my new mime. Well, not really, not really a new mime per se, but a new hobby now. I'm doing. I'm trading cryptocurrency.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds important.
It's only important if I lose money, but I'm not
Oh.
losing any. So
That's good. That's good. Somebody's got to pay the tuna fish sandwiches.
hey, yes,
You know.
yes. I have been studying a lot. I attended a webinar today, so that's what I was doing for a good hour or so, and doing a little research, trying to figure out which tokens I want to use or buy, which ones I want to kind of delve into a little bit deeper. So I've been doing that for the last few months. I started out with investing in Bitcoin, actually, and that's been awesome.
The Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin.
I like the
So,
Bitcoin. You know,
yeah.
we have a magazine that comes out from the veterans, for the veterans. And they talk about the Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin. Is it the same one? Same cryptocurrency?
I think so. I think so. Some of them, well, they're gold, and some of them are silver.
Interesting.
And, you know, it's interesting that you were thinking the same thing, or you're doing what I'm thinking, you know.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give you a shout out, though, because I like the way you focus on things. Yeah. Go ahead, laugh.
Focus?
But you know, everybody knows that you play music,
Yeah.
you sing, you know, you do things, and you're always looking to get ahead some way. And this is another form of your mind.
Wow.
So I see it that way. And I appreciate you having me here, you know.
Man, of course. Finally, you said yes. You were like, I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
you know, I don't know if everybody can see me from here, but Anazine likes to sing with his hands on his knees. You
I
know,
had to show a clip of that one. I remember when you pointed it out to me, I was like, oh, that's weird. How did I not catch this?
well, I noticed it. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry for the bad news. This is bad news. This is a true story.
Okay.
The lady that you were asked to sing,
Oh, no.
she passed away.
Oh, wow.
And she was an opera singer. I mean, a
remember that,
really good
yeah.
opera singer. But, you know, she was way up there in age, and she just passed away a week and a half ago.
Wow.
And so I just thought I'd let you know, because I know you didn't know. And to those that don't know, Anazine was helping a friend of mine from California do a concert, and she started controlling everything. Okay, I want you with the guitar over there. I want you to play. And then I want you, Anazine, to sing. And I want you to sing How Great Thou Art. while we sit here
yeah.
and remember that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about when we were in California.
no.
Okay,
No.
I remember that now.
Yeah, this was. She was such a hilarious.
And she was like, and I know Ricky was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not, running things.
Let's do it. He's not running things. Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to shout out on that. And
wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, but I was going to say, in that magazine, they do have that Bitcoin. I'm going to give it to you so you can see it.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot that they give the veterans. You can buy those from the magazine, and they have to anything. I mean, and they give you all the insights of what they're doing for the veterans, and well, I'm going to say I was a Republican. And Joe Biden right now is in charge. It's kind of like Charles in Charge. Remember that movie that we used to get?
No, which one is that?
Charles in Charge. He was the male nanny type of guy.
Oh,
because there's always
male nanny.
But when you talk about a nanny, you're always talking about a woman.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, but this one was a male nanny.
Male nanny. Okay.
Yeah. And the lady was falling in love with him, and it was a series that always came on. Remember, you never heard of that?
No, I never have.
But he was always in charge, behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Because some people are that way, they suggest things, and the power of suggestion.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh. Man, my wife does that a lot. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Don't get me shot, man.
It is.
Come on.
If you're watching this, I know you want to be in charge.
Oh, no. What's going on?
All right. I just got it out of my mind.
Okay. So, I have a question for you, Amos. All right. It's customary on every show here on Meet the Mimes that I ask the question because I think it's, a necessary starting point for the experience here, for the talk, to ask, what is your mime? Is it petting mallards, fake mallards? I know that's not your mime. I've known you too long to know that's not your mime. So, just saying.
No.
Mr. Mallard.
There's a reason I brought it, though.
I'm curious. So what's your mime? I mean, can we start there?
All right.
What's your mime?
I believe everybody has their thoughts and their reasons for why they are here on this earth.
Okay.
And mine, it was a question that it was asked so many times when I was younger. I didn't know who I was, other than, yes, my mom and my dad, all that. But then I got to drinking. I got to get out of the place, where I was at in San Bernardino. I went to Yosemite National Forest. I started living out there because I couldn't handle the things that were happening in the world when I came back from Vietnam.
Oh, man.
And so that alone right there, I just didn't know. And one day I was sitting at a bus stop. I was a bartender, place in San Bernardino called The Depot.
Okay.
And I left and I was walking home, which wasn't too far, 50 miles. No, I'm just kidding.
50 miles.
No, it's just about a mile or two. But I sat down and I didn't know. And then I started thinking, where is God? And I just couldn't think. I couldn't do anything. And then I took a deep breath and go, oh yeah, he's right here. That breath that I just took was from God. So I had a sense of belonging here now.
On Earth? Or?
On Earth, yeah. I mean, when I was in the Marine Corps, all they kept drilling on you that heaven don't want you and hell's afraid I'll take, I'll take over.
Oh, wow.
So
I've heard you say that before.
Yeah, but the thing is that where does that leave me, And I still was struggling about that. And but needless to say, I went to the Lord, and that's my mime is trying to reflect His being in me.
Wow, being present in the Lord, huh?
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's it. But
it reminds me of Psalm 91. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shadow of the Almighty. That's what that reminds me of, being in the secret place.
Oh, that's deep. That's
awesome.
Deep on.
So your mime is being in the secret place of the Most High, being present in God.
Mm-hmm. Mine is simple. Psalms 86:7. In the time of my trouble, I will call upon thee, because thou will answer me. So in a time like now, like the pandemic and all this stuff, I am not afraid, because the Most High has given us a calling, and we are there for Him, and He's there for us. So I'm not afraid of it. And I've been to Mexico. I went to California. I went through Arizona, New Mexico. You name it, Texas. I've gone to Pennsylvania. I've gone to all the way up to the site of Woodstock, in, upstate New York. So when I'm saying all these things, because I breathe the same thing that everybody's breathing, but I am not infected with that.
Yeah.
So I go. In the last month, I've been tested negative every time, and I'm going again this coming week. And before they do my endoscopy, they want me to take another COVID test.
Yeah.
So, and every time I go, I say I'm okay. I'm okay with that, But I hate that needle. So, in the hospital in Memphis, they got this needle or this thing that sticks up, and they stick it all the way up in your nose, and you're sitting there going, oh,
yeah,
oh, and then, whoa. Okay, now the other side. Oh, no.
Now the other side. I remember that. I've taken one COVID test, man. And
Did they do it that far?
Well, it was here in Lawrenceburg, so it's like, you can do it, or you can have the lady do it. You get a discount if you do it. It's like, let me get that money. Let me do it. So I did it, and I was just like, I started coughing and stuff. It's like, man.
You put it way up in there? Oh, I couldn't do that.
I
couldn't do it. No, you don't have to. I think you don't have to do that. Like in Waynesboro, you go to the health department, they'll do it for free. Waynesboro, Tennessee, and
oh my goodness.
And they go in there with the swab, and just before you go into that area, they swab it there and swab it on the other side, and that's it.
Wow. Okay.
And they say, I'm negative. I go to the Memphis, man, they're sticking their way up in there like, wow, do you hate me or what?
Man, hey, can you slide that a little bit closer?
Oh, yeah,
This thing's got a gate on it for the noise gate.
There it is.
Yeah, so
there it is. Testing.
So that
testing.
So if you back up, it'll still capture you. That's pretty steep for the.
It sounds pretty good. Well, I'm tired and so weary.
By the way, Amos sings very well.
No, I don't.
What?
You just heard it right now.
And it sounds good.
There will be peace in the valley for me someday.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds really good, as always.
Yeah.
And you play guitar.
That's what? No. I make it look like a crazy man, punk rock.
No.
You know, I went with my friend in California. We went to a dance. And they were playing punk rock, and he got crazy on me. I didn't know he was like that. He was crazy and going back and forth and running into people and going backwards, and everybody was bumping into. And then he grabbed a hold of my T-shirt, and he was trying to rip it. He was ripping the T-shirt.
What? On you?
Yeah. And I go, get away from me, man. You know, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And, well, he ripped it, and, you know, all the girls started going, ah! You know, well, not all of them. That one that came
That
over.
one.
That one particular one, yeah.
There's always that one.
Yeah, they like that.
What?
That was my young days. I'm an old guy. I mean, I'm old as a hill and twice as petrified.
Ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the story with Mr. Mallard? Okay, I am curious. I can't wait anymore.
Well, a friend of mine painted this mallard.
Oh, cool.
And it's a she. You know, she's very good. She's an artist.
I was going to say, that's a male mallard. I don't...
Yeah.
Okay, you were talking about your friend. Okay.
My friend, yeah. She's the one that did this. She's only 15 years old. 15.
Do I know her?
Yes. And then this did not have any color. It was just gray. It was outside, and that poor duck was outside all alone. And so I says, you know, I'm going to give it to her, and she is going to paint it for me, and then I'm going to reward her. Well, she finished this one. I got two of them. She finished this one, but she went to school at Harbor Hills, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And the intricacies, you know, of the feathers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. She took some time to do this. But I brought it, and I wanted to say that everybody has a talent.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we don't know that talent. And we don't know that talent until you really sit down and talk to people. Like you and I. You know?
Yeah.
So when we start talking about, you know, what's your mime, or what do you do, or where you go, or whatever you do. I mean, every time we go out, we have pretty good time, you know.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, we eat a lot. That's why he was gaining weight. But he's working out again. So don't worry about it. I lost a lot of weight.
Oh, man.
But the duck now is a sign of that talent. So when I brought it in, I wanted to show it to you and show it to the listeners, you know, as something to look at, that everybody has something good to offer.
Yeah.
But you have to listen. And if you don't give them the time of day, they won't tell you, or you won't ever find out.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I had that. I went to a church in Colton, California, and I had the program for the young people, and I wanted to invite only the elderly people, anybody over 65 and older. And when you start talking to them, you find out, well, this guy used to be a missionary on the Amazon. You know, this guy went to war. You know, this guy does this, and this guy does that, and that lady, I mean, she's been married so many times and widowed 5 times. One of the ladies went up there. She had 18 kids. 18, all hers. Of course, you know, she had some twins or triplets or something. Yeah. But they were all there. You know, and you don't know that until you start talking to them. So when they came out in that church, I asked them, what did you do before, you retired?
Mm-hmm.
And then they would tell you. But I'm 68 years old. I'm getting up there. And then I hear all these people passing away at 60, 65. And
Man, one of my friends just passed away, actually.
Oh.
She was 31.
Oh, it's a she.
Yeah. And she actually had reached out to me a little while ago, and she was going through some things. She's in the music business, or was in the music business. And it's just, I guess any industry has its politics.
Mm-hmm.
And she called me one day. She was like, dude, I need to talk to you about something. I don't know what it was because, she didn't want to talk over the phone. But she's like, when you come down next, let's talk. But, I came down there maybe a week or so later, and she didn't want to talk about it. And it's been a couple years ago. But I heard yesterday, man, that she died of liver deterioration or something like that, because after that situation that she told me about, she just stopped playing music. She's on one of my records. Great musician, talented person.
Cirrhosis of the liver, probably.
I think so, but in 2 years.
Oh.
So she started heavily drinking and things like that. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
When I seen her in person, she's just different. She didn't have that spark anymore. I was just like, what the crap, man? But I heard that she had some issues with the liver, and she had a week to live, and that was it.
The liver is very interesting because it must have been really, really bad.
Yeah, she really went downhill fast,
because
man.
The liver is the only organ in our body that can reproduce itself. You can cut it, and it'll grow back.
It'll grow back. You're like,
yeah.
Not me.
Well, yeah. Like if you had a problem, that's what they can do with the liver.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I'm saying it must have been really, really bad because it must have engulfed the whole thing.
Yeah, because I talked to one of my friends, and she's a nurse practitioner,
mm-hmm.
and I told her about it. It's like, how can this happen at 31? She's like, well, a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
And I was just speculating that it was drinking because my friend had told me how that can happen. She's like, a lot of drinking, and if you have any medicine that you're taking, maybe controlled substances. I'm not, saying that she was, but that can speed it up. That your liver is just overworked. So,
well, that's going to give a new meaning to my saying. Like when I eat good food or something, I always say, makes my liver quiver.
Yes. I tried that out on people before. And when I say it, they're like, what? Makes your liver quiver? And they have the same reaction to it as I did when you said it to me for the first time. I was like, oh, that's great. That's just, and from now on, the people that hear it, they're going to be like, oh man, that's so good. It makes my liver quiver.
Yeah. I heard it for the first time from a guy that was from Boston.
Huh.
He was in the Marine Corps with me.
Okay.
And he'd say things. He was the oldest of the people that was there. I think he was like almost 25 years old. He turned 25 while he was there. And most of us were 18 years old, 19. So we kind of looked at him, like he's the old guy,
Mm-hmm.
And one day he started laughing and he says, oh man, that thing just makes my liver quiver. I go, that's the funniest thing I've heard.
Oh my goodness.
And that's where I learned it. I mean, I picked it up from him.
That's a great saying, man.
Yeah, the things that you pick up from
anecdotal
people.
Yeah. Man, that's priceless.
Yeah.
That is priceless.
Well, the first thing I'd like to finish off by saying here is that I am a veteran from the Vietnam War. I went in there when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
And 4 months later, I turned 18. I had finished my training, and then they took us over to Camp Pendleton from San Diego.
Okay.
And then from San Diego, they took us to Okinawa.
Wow.
Japan. I went to the site where they had the battle with the man that a lot of people know. His name is Desmond Doss.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where they had that battle. And that was overlooking the cliff. They call it the Dossman Peak now. But when they were coming off the ship, they went up, and they couldn't get up to get to the enemy. So the ships back in those days, they had these nets that they put on the side of the ship, like square knots, They're all over so you can climb up. And, Well, they used those off the ship and put them up on the cliffs. And that's how they got up. Of course, it was an ambush. And a lot of people died that day. And Desmond Doss, after all was said and done, and after all the people that he was saving, he brought down 70-something people. And they didn't know who was bringing them down. They just knew that they were coming down. By the time he finished, his skins in his hands were almost down to the bone because he was doing these things. I mean, the story goes on. It's very interesting. If anybody wants to read, not Hacksaw Bridge, it was hacked. I say hacked because they didn't tell the real story, like the way Desmond Doss wanted. That's why he never let Hollywood take over, because Hollywood would do it
their way,
injustice to it. And they wouldn't talk about his God, they wouldn't talk about his faith, his conscientious objection, of going to that war. And from then, we went to Vietnam. But we didn't go straight to Vietnam. We went to Singapore, Beipu, Japan, for cold weather training on Mount Fuji. And we went to Hong Kong and the Philippines. And then once we left the Philippines, we went straight over to Vietnam, cruised the DMZ. I don't know if a lot of people know what DMZ means. It's the demilitarized zone.
Okay.
And that's not, this is the action. This is the war here, and this is not. So you're right on the zone, cruising right there. And that's the way it was on the ship. And for 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights. What does that bring back?
Yeah, it's like the time when Jesus was in the wilderness.
Yes.
Wow.
40 days and 40 nights. And so then we went into Vietnam, and it was a hard thing because I was on an LSD. It's a landing ship, and we had the Marines in there, and we had the Amtraks. And the ship is level like this, but when they're going to let the Amtraks out, loaded with a squad of guys into there, the ship goes down like this, and then the water comes in so that the boats and everything can get loaded up over here, and then you come out and they don't see you coming out. And but you would never know that when we went in there all morning long, they had two destroyers going in, one coming this way, one going that way. They turn, they come back all morning long, just bombing the heck out of that beach.
Wow.
And you would think that nobody could survive that.
And which battle was that
I
you're
was
describing now?
In Quang Tri.
Quang Tri.
Yeah, Quang. Quang.
Okay, and that was
Tri.
in Okinawa?
No, Vietnam.
Vietnam. You left Okinawa.
Yeah.
And that's where your training was, in Okinawa, for the cold?
Mm-hmm. Well, the cold was in Fuji.
Fuji, okay.
But we had jungle survival training in the Philippines. We had a lot of different training, different parts. But what they do is they take you to Hong Kong, they take you to Singapore, all these other places,
mm-hmm.
and they let you have fun.
Okay.
Because that's the last time that maybe you can live.
Oh, my goodness.
So once we got in there and they were bombing everything, at the end of that, we had to go in. The Amtrak took us into the beach. And the hardest thing, and even to this day, is my fear of somebody with a gun shooting at that Amtrak. Of course, there are probably M60s, shooting at it, and you can hear the bullets coming off in there.
My goodness.
And there's so much going on. You thought that they were going to die because all that bombing they had all that day, but they were hiding in caves. And then once we got there, we had to go out of there, and that door's going to open up, and you don't know if you're going to die right there.
Good Lord. And
once you do that, in the Marine Corps, they teach you when you come out of those Amtraks to go to the right or to the left.
Okay.
So that, you're not like a John Wayne, go straight out, So they make you go out to the side, and that's how those are bad memories, that just that particular time, because this is like, I don't know how to say it, whether you're going to die or live right there and then. If you live through that, you can live through all the other stuff.
Mm.
So we went in through there, and knowing that they were going to open up that door, and we're running, and my friends from the sides, dying. And,
my goodness.
And then why me?
Yeah.
But I've made it this far, and I had a reason, or no, God had a reason for me being this old, because I was a caregiver to my mom for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow,
people that know me, my mom was my everything. I took care of her. Anything she needed,
mm-hmm.
I took care of her. And anyways, I think that people, if they hear this, caregivers have a hard time dealing with this. But if you ever get a chance to relieve that caregiver, go to somebody that might need some help. Maybe I got a couple hours, you want to go to the store, take care of I'll take care of your mom, or, if you want to go. I'll just sit here, I'll take care of her, That's what I like is people to feed off of the things that an older guy would do.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
That's the mime. Because they're doing what I'm doing, like.
It's not. Amos.
But, that's the thing right there, is that a lot of people they think, he's got it. My family was the same way. Oh, he's got it. He was with Junior. They call me Junior.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they would have gave me $10, $20 to buy her something or come and visit her, my mom used to get angry. She says, if they come to my funeral crying, I want you to go down there and kick them in the ass. because they didn't come.
Gosh.
They didn't come when I was living. Why are you going to go down there and cry? Well, I'm dead.
Oh, wow.
That's heavy.
That is.
You know, and I really didn't want to do that, but you know, everybody grieves. Everybody does their own thing. So everybody's got their mime.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, you have an interesting mime.
Well, I didn't go too deep, but most people don't know these things, and it's hard to talk about other things. You know, if I go into details, it's you know,
it gets deep quick.
Oh man, you get muddy around here.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Speaking of muddy, man, I've got a dirt bike that I bought. Remember the one that I used to ride over to your house?
Yeah, the little one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a 350. It doesn't sound like that. And it's a four-stroke.
I know. It's like...
There we go. It's a man's bike.
Yeah, it's not like the Yamahas. They sound like Yamaha, you know? Or the Kawasaki's. Kawasaki. You know?
What? I've never heard it sound like that.
Well,
how does the Honda sound?
Honda.
So bad. Amos.
Okay, but I remember the bike. Okay.
But anyway, I don't know, man. I've been so busy lately. I've got the podcast. I've got, you know, trading cryptocurrencies, learning how to do that better and better, and you know, fleshing that out. And then I've also got the construction business. So I haven't really dedicated any time and trying to figure out how to be social at the same time. And I haven't really had a lot of time or taken time and opportunity to be able to ride the bike. But here recently, I've been riding like a lot. And it's interesting how freeing it is just to be moving, you know, because every day, of course, we ride in vehicles. But it's just a different element when you're, you know, riding on the bike. I know you used to ride too, so you know what I mean. And it's just like after a long day or before or on a day that I'm off, just riding outside. I don't have, of course, a helmet, you know, just riding between my house and, you know, my parents' house when I go visit, or when I'm just trying to
kill time.
Warm it up. Yeah, and warm it up, yeah. But it's so freeing just to be able to do that. But speaking of mud, getting back to that, I realized I really like driving in mud because the other day I was riding, and of course the back end goes out, and I'm like, man, brrr, you know,
out of control.
Yeah, so I love it, love it.
So you're a controlling freak?
I do. I don't like falling on a motorcycle, so I am definitely a control freak.
Oh,
yes, yes.
Is that why you're not married? Is that?
I'm not married because I like money.
Oh.
So
I don't like money. I want you to know I don't like money.
You don't like money?
But it calms my nerves.
Does it make your liver quiver when you trade the money for good food?
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yes.
And Bitcoin,
yeah. But no, man, I'd like to be married one day. Of course, as you know, I was married when I was like 20. But, you know, I want to be married one day as a grown person, not some kid, some 20-year-old kid. Now at 37, I see the world a lot differently. And right now it's like I'm amassing my wealth. But it's like I'm kind of caught up in that right now. So I'm like, I'm amassing my wealth. I don't need to be married right now. Yeah. I don't want that distraction because that's how I see marriage, as a distraction. I don't see it as really something that's going to, based on my experience for marriage. So the only experience I had.
Wait. What if the special someone came along?
That's never happened. Well, it hasn't yet. So I have no idea. That hasn't happened yet. Okay. I'd like to, of course, keep everything open-ended. But it's, like I said, I'm really caught up right now with making or building my empire, I guess. And I haven't settled on one particular thing, but it's just trying to find something that works, that takes less energy for me to put into it than what I get out of it. So,
yeah, well,
and in that search, it just takes a lot of time, and I don't want the distraction.
yeah, but you got to put that time, you got to put that effort into it.
Yeah.
Before it gets easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with the businesses and ventures.
Yeah. Then it gets better.
Oh, yeah.
Like me, I never had business savvy, you know. All I knew was just work.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I
too.
did. I mean, I'm from the old days. I mean, I'm talking in the 50s. You know, you don't know about the 50s. I was still in the time of segregation.
Yeah. I remember we were talking about that. Because I was
Oh.
curious. I was like, dude, for Hispanic people, anybody that wasn't black, how was it? I mean, because they had white, black, you know, white designated this, black designated that, you know, and I was curious. It's like, well,
Where does that leave us?
Yeah. You know?
Well, you see, the thing about this is that when you went to fill out forms, they had black and white.
Mm.
They didn't have black, white, Mexican, Asian, or anything like that.
Wow.
So we were categorized as white.
Interesting.
And I remember as far back, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Houston.
Yeah, and they had gravel roads there.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, they had their regular roads, you know, they were paved and stuff like that. But if you got off those roads, then those were different. We called them the bayous.
Bayous.
The bayous.
The dirt roads were called the bayous? Or?
Yeah, because there's some sections where there was water and stuff like that. You know, like, what's his name? That singer that died, Roy Orbison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he sang about the bayou. And of course, you know, Linda Ronstadt. Linda Ronstadt's dad wrote that song, and Linda Ronstadt is the one that sang.
Okay. The only bayous that I'm familiar with are in that I've heard about in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything about any in Texas.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's
no,
news
it
to
was
me.
bad.
That's cool.
It was bad because the elementary school, I remember, they had a whole different section for the black folks.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we were the part of the whites. So
Yeah.
we would have, and they would tell us, this is your water fountain. This is theirs.
Wow.
You know, they made a sidewalk and says, you guys stay this side and you stay on that side.
Wow.
Of course, you know, we were kids, so I'd put my foot out there and, you know,
That's
hey,
Amos.
you
That's
know,
Amos.
hey, you know. and then we'd walk home and they would want to fight with us. So
Now, who would want to fight with you?
the black folks.
Really? Just for you putting your foot on their side?
Yeah, and for being belligerent, you know, and being stupid, you know. And in Houston, Texas, they had these ditches. Yeah, even if you go there now, you'll see the ditches, the waterways. The water will go right through there. But after the rains and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
we used to go home and make mud balls.
Okay.
And then when everybody was ready, we start throwing mud balls at each other. They're on the other side of the street, and we're on this side of the street. And so we're bam and throwing them, and then finally somebody gets hit.
Oh, no.
And then we'd end up in the streets. Not only were we fighting, our dog came over and started fighting their dog.
Are you serious?
And then my dad would come out, and their dad would come out. You know, and he says, "Get your dog off my dog. I'll kill him or something." You know.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it was bad, you know. But
Wow.
you know, for me, I grew up with them. You know, knowing that they were all part of. I mean, God's people. There's no color.
Yeah.
We all bleed the same,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have that opportunity to make it to heaven. You know, so when I went to war, I mean, I wouldn't go to war without some of my friends.
Wow.
And they're friends, and that's the way I am. I defend them, not all of them, because a lot of them, they hang on. They hang on to what their parents went, and there are other, but nobody ever did anything to them. Only that, that was part of their history.
Yeah. It's hard to let things like that die for some people.
Yeah, and like that Black Lives Matter, it's only for them, I mean, really, why don't white lives matter?
Yeah.
Mexican.
How did you feel about all that? I mean, I'm totally down with what Black Lives Matter says. So it's like, I know that there is totally something there. My position on it is like my experience with cops. If I'm not breaking the law, I don't have anything to be concerned about.
That's right.
But I have personal friends that are law enforcement, agents, and what I've discovered over the years is that they're people.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a person and they're a person, I know from knowing who I am and what I want, I don't want to be disrespected. I don't want to be, singled out. Or, I don't want to be disrespected and disrespected. I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah.
And
or get bothered by it.
Yeah, I don't want to be abused by anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't see the issue that a lot of people have, because like if I get pulled over, I'm nervous a little bit, because I'm like, hey, especially if I know if I've been speeding. But outside of that, man, I'm not concerned about law enforcement at all. I have a friend, and I don't use that loosely, and he's SWAT. He's a white man, big dude. Work out with him at the gym. He's like, dude, if you need anything, I got you. And this is before Black Lives Matter. Dude is an upstanding guy. He knows who he is. And I know a few troopers, But I totally am down with the dual respect thing. I respect them, they respect me. That's where it is. But I do get as well that there are some, people who want to start trouble, but that's everyone. And it's just unfortunate that some of them wear badge and gun. But, But what is your take on the Black Lives Matter thing?
Well, Black Lives Matters, and it does matter. Mm-hmm. It matters on anybody. But I've seen it where people just followers, they want to follow somebody and they want to be mischievous. They want to get up there and just make trouble. That's all they want to do. And then if you see somebody doing it, well, they're doing it, I'm going to do it too. And that got a little bit crazy. The Capitol, come on.
Yeah, that's kind of like,
it's like, it's our tax money,
Yeah.
Their tax money. Some of them didn't even work.
So it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, in California during the Rodney King thing, they had, somebody made up this T-shirt, and they had a picture of buildings being burnt and buildings, blowing up, and way down here on the bottom, you had a donut shop with the cops eating donuts.
Oh my goodness!
And then right in the center, there was a building, kind of like I don't know the word they use it, but anyways, they highlighted, maybe that's the word I want, with lights, like there's this building, and you know what building that was?
Which one?
The welfare department.
Ooh.
They mess with that one, they don't get paid. They don't get their...
They burned the welfare?
No, they didn't. They left that one alone.
Oh.
They just burned everything else around it because it was going crazy.
I was really young. I remember hearing about it and seeing it on the news, but I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, but it was bad. And there was I remember way back in the 60s when they had that big riot up there in Los Angeles, it was really bad up there, and I was a kid, I was probably around 15 something.
Mm-hmm.
But people now, as Black Matters, it's always been that way. It's always been that way. They want to be respected also. They want to get heard and they want to do things,
mm-hmm.
but they don't need to go to extremes, And anytime one Black matters and they beat him up or they killed him, because of that one, millions of people in the United States have to look at that, and they says, look at what they did. Well, what about all the other lives that were lost? This is my take. What about the other people? Not just these. There's a lot of them. Mexicans, Asians, white, you name them.
And it's interesting how, things get carried away,
Yeah.
I think that's what you're referencing is just this happens and then everybody focuses on that and makes a big deal out of it. And then after it initially happened, because I started to notice this, after that situation, of course, then you have the protests, which I think are great. It causes people to look at it and analyze what's going on. Is there a real problem here? Then you get individuals who take that opportunity to be able to create havoc because they just like chaos. I don't know who those people are, but I do know a lot of people who like chaos, and they like the energy that comes from just that frequency, which people are and have that mindset, and they just don't know how to deal with it, and they just go nuts, and they just want to break something or do something.
Latch out.
They want to be violent. I don't know. A lot of people want to be violent because, it feels good, to be violent sometimes. I mean, I think about the days when I was a kid and we would be clearing fields when we were kids, helping Dad when we bought the property, and just being violent with like a machete and just, cutting those saplings. It was great, just going nuts and everything until a sapling slaps you back in the face. You're like, wham! It's like, bam! I'm like, oh my God.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, violence. I mean, that's violence, straight up violence, but of course in a good way. You're clearing land, you're developing land, property, and as a kid, you're developing character, learning how to work with your hands, and manual labor. You learn a lot of great things from that. But it's exciting knowing the power of wielding something, whether it's your fists or your machete, to be able to get something that you conceptualize in your mind. Whatever that vision might be. I hate to say it, and I play video games, but when people play video games, they're able to exact their desire on whatever that NPC is. Non-player, the computer. So I understand how that mind is, and it's just like whenever there are situations like Black Lives Matter protests or, the protest at the Capitol, those people go there and they just wait for those people that like violence just go there and they just wait for an opportunity to just go nuts. They're like, I'm feeling crazy. Things are crazy now. And then the pandemic, everybody's out, or everybody's, quarantine. There's opportunity, opportunists. But then at the same time, there are people there for a true cause. And then you get those opportunities that just kind of hijack everything. And then people stop listening. Like with Black Lives Matter, now it's got this stigma of a bunch of whiny people talking about stuff. And me being black, I think is a serious thing, what it initially was. But now it's kind of like an excuse to hurt somebody else. Oh, you're being racist or you're being this. Like,
come on.
I don't know, man. I don't know, and I'm not in a bigger city. I was down in Florence with a friend. We were getting something to eat, and there was a Black Lives Matter protest down there. For the first one I had ever been witness to. It's a weird vibe to it, man. I don't know if you've been to one, but they were like, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. I was like, okay, cool. I've never seen one of these in person. And I went up to them and I was just looking at them, just passing. And dude, I mean, it's like this energy was just reverberating off of, not reverberating, it's for sound waves, but emanating from them. This energy was just emanating, and I was just like, and it was like psyching me up.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I channeled it to focus more on what was going on so that I can pick up everything. I just, boosted the signal of my senses, used all the energy to boost the signal. But it was weird, and I was just able to just not only process all of the protesters, but I also processed what was going on, I hate to say it, in the minds of the people that were watching, because I was looking at their faces. And it was like, it was emanating off of them, their fear, their confusion, their anticipation, their, tension. And I was just like, I was feeling it. It's like, oh my goodness, I can see why people who are given to just giving into whatever impulse that they have at the time would be like, boom.
There's
it would
the
be
followers.
Like, yes.
And that's the way you were probably, if you didn't focus, you would have been lost in something like that too.
Yeah.
And then somebody starts picking something up and you start throwing at them and
like, girl,
Black matters.
Yeah, and just using that as an excuse to be able to be violent, be crazy.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But when it's all said and done,
hey,
we try to live our lives as peaceful as we can. And don't let nobody try to control you.
Ooh.
And you don't try to control the situation. But the power of suggestion is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And God helps us when we do things like that. And so, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was looking down at my microphone cable here. It's a Jumpers. It's called Jumpers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made in USA. Microphone.
With the Z at the end.
Yeah, but I don't know. You can probably see it on yours. Like where
made
it says
in
microphone.
USA, microphone. Black Lives Matter.
Crazy?
I know. Look at
it has a BLM on it. I'm like, what? Wait a minute.
How did you do
that?
How did
this doing this?
No, how did you do that?
I didn't.
Are you a music? What do you call him?
A musician?
No, a magician.
A magician? No.
Wow,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what BLM stands for on this microphone cable, but I thought that was wild. I just looked down and was like, wait a minute. Is that a 3? No, that's a B.
Black Lives Matter.
BLM.
So why would they do that?
I don't think it's for the political stance, but I think it's an acronym for whatever their brand is.
Yeah.
This is Sweetwater.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's weird.
Talking about acronyms or something interesting, I read something recently. I think I told it to you before, but it was about before the pandemic, that they have these greeters in Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And they pay them, they're elderly people.
Yeah.
And they come in there and you come in and they greet you,
Yeah.
They get you a cart if you need it, or just help you. Well, this old guy, he was pretty old, older than I am. But he would come to work every day for a couple of months. But he was late every day he came to work.
Mm.
And the boss saw what he was doing, that he was coming in late. And he did a really good job. I mean, everybody liked him. They come by and they talk to him by name and everything.
Oh, wow.
And the boss took him into the office and he says, I've noticed that you've been coming in late every day since you've been working here.
That's not good.
Yeah, and the guy says, well, I'm sorry. He says, I'm working on that. And he said, well, you were late today when you came in. He says, I know, I promise I'll do better. He said, but we got to fix this. We can't leave it like that, and you can come in late anytime you want.
Okay.
And so finally he says, well, let's get down to the matter at hand. What did the other job say when you came in late to work?
Uh-oh.
Well, he says, the only thing they said was, good morning, General. Would you like a cup of coffee? The good morning, General.
That's great.
General can do whatever he wants.
Do what he wants.
Come in anytime he wants.
I should have known. I mean, like right there in the middle, I was like, oh, this is a joke. This is Amos' joke.
Oh, but that one makes you wonder, because
a
lot of times when we do what we want, it gets out of hand.
Yeah.
And you got to stop it. Or like some people say, you got to nip it in the bud.
Gotta
nip it in the bud,
Yeah.
So we have to do that. Even like when say, the School of Ministry here, United School of Ministry. And I don't know if they teach it like this, but what I'm going to say is that even when you get ready to do something like Black Matters, and you're going to do something like you are take it out on something, well, even up to the very last second, there is God telling you, don't do this. You don't need to do this. And you still have that chance, that second of the chance to turn back and say, no, I don't want to do that. And so what we have to do is live and let live, like Paul McCartney said. Or no, John Lennon.
John Lennon.
Yeah, John Lennon. Or the Beatles, we could say the Beatles. But we have a chance now to turn our lives around. And that's what happens when you get older, They say you get wiser, but some people just don't get wise.
Not true in all cases.
Yeah. Well, people think just because you're older, you're wiser. Well, we've learned our lesson, but doesn't mean that we know how to be wise to use that. And some man told me, he was a doctor. He told me that when you do something, and you're about to do anything in your life, you can always turn to God to help you out.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens, and I like thinking that way. And when you start thinking about your life and making those decisions, he said also this, that the use of intelligence is the difference of being wise. Because, there's young people that are wise.
Yeah.
And there's some that just don't get it. They just don't get it. There's some that are really intelligent, but they just don't know how to use that intelligence.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I thought about that, and it stayed in my mind for a long time, and so when I say that somebody says, yeah, you're older, you're wiser, yeah, it could be, but the thing is that you've learned your lesson, and let's do it well. Let's keep it there, because history repeats itself all the time.
Yeah,
and you saw it, like in the when you read the books, the Bible or something, they always turn back to God. But then they get out of that again, and they repeat themselves the same thing that they were doing bad. They keep repeating it. And then they go to another one, they keep repeating that, And history just keeps repeating itself.
Man.
You know?
Yeah.
But there are people that stand tall because of what they believe in. Have you ever heard of jockey?
Jockey, as in like a jockey in polo?
They got the name from jockey. Jockey was a little boy during the time of George Washington and the crossing of the Delaware and things like that.
I was there, yeah.
You were there. And he wanted to go and fight.
Okay.
And he says, no. He says, we need you to keep this light lit so when they come down the river, they're going to be able to see that light. And so his name was Jockey. You can look it up in the encyclopedia Google it. Everybody Googles it. You know, I go to the University of Google.
Yeah. Yeah, you learn a lot there.
Yeah, but Jockey was there, and it was so cold, and it was during the winter, that when they were coming down the river and they said to Washington that they're almost there, then somebody said, there's the light. I see it. And they went towards the light. And Jockey was there with the light. He was there with the light. He did his job. The only thing was, he froze to death. He froze to death doing what he was told to do. And because he focused and he did this, they started using jockey as a different things, and they talk about the ones that drive the horses, or race the horses, and they use his name. But it's interesting that what a person will do when they will it. Like sometimes you can see a guy that's really strong, and you see somebody like me, skinny, weighing 211 pounds. And anyways, they say, how can you pick up that? I says, it's not my muscle. It's the will. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in the Marine Corps, that's what they brought out of me.
Wow.
They teach you that,
It reminds me, I recently read a book by David Goggins.
David Goggins.
I don't know if you've read his work or his book or heard of him. But man, he started, of course, he was a Navy boy, and then went into the Navy SEALs, and also Ranger School, tried out for Delta. But that was the biggest thing about what he's about, is you can train your mind, and he called it taking souls. He's maybe 10 years older than me, so maybe less. I think he's in his late 40s, but he was talking about you can train your mind to do anything. Or he says, your body can withstand a lot. The trick is to convince your mind to keep going. And that's what that reminded me of. I know that you, of course, you're a military man, veteran. And I can't imagine what it was like to survive an environment like Vietnam or those different battles you're a part of. But I could see where that mindset kept you going. Keep going. Mm-hmm. I'm tired. I am just exhausted. But your will to survive and to make it through that, was fuel for you to be able to make it. I was just thinking about one of the things that you had said. Why me? All your friends are dying beside you. How do you deal with that? Like, I know, of course, many years away from it. There's some time between then and now. But, do I don't know how to fashion the question, but how, does that still kind of bother you? Is there kind of like
I think about it. I had a hard time when I got out of the service because they used to call. Are we almost ready to go?
No, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, yeah. When I got out of service, they used to call me baby killer, and I shouldn't be in the war, And these are the Dodgers. I think I told you about that. The Dodgers were the ones that dodged the draft.
Okay.
Man. They went to Canada. They hid from everybody. And then when you come back, they're sitting there telling you should have never been there. That wasn't our fight, but when your country calls for you, you answer.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And a lot of the guys did. And a lot of people that don't want to fight are people that are passive, they're just, they're not, they're not thinking the way a patriotic should be, because it's a patriotic duty that we do this. When I hear the music of the flag, I get up there and I'll salute, put my hand over my heart or anything. And sometimes it almost breaks out tears in my eyes because we do this for our family, for our survival here in the United States. Ever since we were separated from England,
Mm-hmm.
it goes way back when, and but I survived that by, and it's not a sudden thing. And you never forget it.
Wow.
That's why they have this, what they call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And that PTSD is stuff that you saw, like my friends dying, and then why me, And if you let that engulf you, you're probably out there in the streets, not knowing what you're doing, and but I learned to survive it by going to God and asking Him to change me. And people that saw the change in me, because I was mean and obscene and I hated to be seen. I really was. I mean, when I went down the street, you looked at me bad, I would go across the street and I'd hit you.
Oh, man.
I didn't care.
I believe it.
And no, I was meaner than a junkyard dog.
I don't know how mean that is, but
it's mean.
Junkyard dog.
Yeah. But you see, it brings you to a conclusion that time does heal things.
Yeah.
But you never forget it. Like my mom, she passed away a couple of years ago.
Has it been 2 years already?
Yeah, May 25th, 19. It was 2019. Man. And then, I want everybody to know Zine was there all day with me.
When you called me, man, or you texted me, I was like, what? And I think you were in shock, and you were just like, and I was like, dude, I'll be right over, man. I was in shock. I was like, oh, man, what's going on?
Well, she made a ripe 90 years old. She used to tell me, I've taken a lot of footsteps in this earth.
Wow.
That's the way she said it in Spanish, though.
Oh.
But my
goodness.
My mom, she was sharp. I mean, she remembered things. I mean, you could start a verse in the Bible and she'll finish it.
Wow.
That's the way. Have you seen people like that in church?
Oh, yeah, totally.
People sit there and the pastor's saying, da, and they'll finish it, And that was my mom, and she would remember everybody's birthday. She remembered everybody. She'll tell you what they did, what they ate. And, oh, man, I really admired her for that,
I remember going over there, and you'd say, "This is Anazine," and she's like, "Oh yeah." And then there'll be days where she's like, "Oh, I remember you." And then the other day she's like, "Oh," and then she'd be playing, of course. But I was like, "Oh, she's so mean to me." And
yeah,
I remember.
But
that.
yeah, she used to grab me. She used to grab me by the shirt, and she'd go, "Come on," and she'll hit me, and I pull away from her, and she'd go like this.
Oh my goodness! Oh man!
Yeah, my mama, man, she was. I mean, after 8 kids, you know, my mama. The story has it, you know, when we were kids, we were migrants. In summer, we always went out and we picked tomatoes. Was our big thing. But we picked a lot of different fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. But my dad went in there to try to get some money from these guys because nobody was getting paid. Well, he come out with this excuse, and my mom says, we're not leaving till we get paid. She went inside there, and she grabbed him, and she goes, "You're going to pay me or I'm going to get angry."
Oh, man.
You know, and after telling him a few things, she came out with the money.
Oh.
She came out with the money.
All right.
She's mean.
She's mean.
Yeah. I mean, for other people. Well, for us too. But, yeah.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, it was hard for me to deal with stuff when I came back like that.
Wow.
Like I tell you, I went to Yosemite National Forest and I lived there for 4 months trying to deal with that.
Man.
And it was difficult. I mean, I've done a lot. I was going to wrestle a bear, a black bear.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And we lived in what they called yellow pines.
Oh, wow.
Now it's called John Muir Park.
But
it was called yellow pines back then.
Did you just camp out there? Or?
No, I picked my tree, and that was my tree, and that's where I lived right there.
Wow.
You know, and everybody knew where everybody stayed at nighttime.
So many veterans lived out there?
Yeah, my hair grew out. When you stretched it, it went back to the half of my back, halfway down my back. And then, but it was always frizzy. Everybody that hang around me, they were all frizzy people. And one night, I says, "I'm going to be cooking up some beans." And it says, "Hey, I'll bring the water. I'll bring the salt, and I'll bring the black pepper, and I'll bring the jalapenos, you know, and all this stuff." And we're sitting out there eating away and smoking. Not the type of smoke you're thinking of.
What, tobacco? Yeah.
No, not that one. Not that one. Yeah, but we were smoking some hooches, man.
Oh.
That was our big thing. And we were all sitting around the campfire. Back then I could play some songs, you know, like, what was it?
Johnny Cash.
No, it was more like, "Been Through the Desert with the Horse with No Name."
Oh, I like that song.
Yeah. It's easy to play. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
And we were just sitting there kicking back, and that's why I always say, when I play, I only play campfire things, you know, just. And then all of a sudden, we were all sitting there around the campfire, and all of a sudden, I hear this noise, and this guy is up, and he jumped over me like this and landed almost into the fire.
What?
And then all he said was, "Boo, I'm frizzy too." And everybody started laughing.
Oh, my goodness.
It was Willie Wilson from Washington.
Oh, man.
And he was a good friend after that.
Oh, man.
We did really good. I woke up one morning with a guy playing a bagpipe on top of a rock.
Wow.
You know, we went up to the top and we repelled El Capitan, you know, Old Smoky out that way. And anyways, that's where I dealt. And I finally came out of my shell and went to Porterville and went to college. I was the president of the Veterans Association out there.
Wow.
Ran for city councilman.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was into things, but when I came back, I didn't let people, I could verbalize with them instead of, get mad and start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in those days, I didn't have a lot of education because they took me when I went. I was 17 years old,
Oh, man.
and I didn't finish high school.
Man.
And when somebody tried to do and say things to me,
Just react, yeah.
I'd react instead of trying to
Mm-hmm.
talk to them, because I didn't know how to talk to them. So
Wow.
I just started fighting.
Mm.
So, yeah, but I dealt with that on my own in private, and my wife didn't even want to sleep with me because I'd wake up in the middle of the night, with some bad dreams and
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Yeah.
Those are the things I went through, but I had to deal with it to get to the point where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you get closer to the mic? I'm losing you. All these noise gates are pretty tough. Anyway.
Testing.
You're too close now. I turned you up. Man, that's really really cool that you opened up and told me, those things. I mean, I know that whenever we visit, we're usually, in a public place or whatever, and this is more public than those places, but it's at the same time just a conversation between two friends.
Yeah.
So it's great, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you feel comfortable being able to open up like that, and I'm thankful that you trust me to listen.
Well, it's easy because you've been through a few things that I've been through.
Yeah.
But I never had my hair like yours, though.
You ain't missing nothing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey, man, we're over an hour.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we'll wrap this up.
All right.
I know you probably aren't big on social media and sharing things on there, but I know you have like some social media. Did you want to share anything
Before
with the listeners and viewers on if you want people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I would rather have comments on Meet the Mimes.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see people start seeing this a little bit where, you can relate to me or relate to Anazine and his purpose, what he's doing here. And then it's a good thing because it gave me a chance to open up where I don't open up too much. I open up to veterans that been through things.
Yeah.
But the people, I've tried it, and they just don't care. They don't want to hear stuff like that, And here, if you've gone through the whole thing, you heard it. You heard it here first. And those are the things that I have deep embedded in my mind. And you may not care, but, those are things that I did go through. And be somebody that be thankful for a veteran. Because veterans, without them, I don't know where this country would be.
Yeah, you always got to have somebody to fight for you. I mean, thinking about the people that, ran away.
While they were here, taking care of all these things, taking care of the baby, taking care of the folks, and we were over there taking care of business so that you could take care of your baby, your home, your people, not to sit there and do Black Lives Matters or anything like this. We're here in the United States, the best country in the world, really. I mean, although we're going to be socialist if Joe stays the same way. But you can argue that with me, but send me a comment.
Uh-oh.
I have a lot of things to say about that.
For people who might send you a comment about that, they more than likely have forgot that you're mean.
And obscene, and I hate to be seen.
All right.
All right.
Well, Amos, it was great to talk with you, man. And of course, off camera, we'll be always enjoying each other's company and conversation. So I'm looking forward to more. And God willing, this year, be able to go back out, hopefully to California and maybe go to Mexico or something.
Oh,
nice.
I like that. I like that.
Nice. So,
Get some of them tacos and enchiladas and chile relleno.
Yes.
All that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Authentic food.
Yeah.
None of this stuff from these Mexican restaurants where they get the cans and they say, here's your beans and here's your rice, Uncle Ben's rice.
Get that out of here. All right, Amos.
All right, man.
We got to roll.
Okay.
And thanks again for being here and talking with me.
Cheers to all.
Yes, cheers. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, thanks for joining me on this episode of Meet the Mimes. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I did. Heads up on upcoming content and look out for video of each one of these talks on Meet the Mimes YouTube. Well, that's it for now. Stay interesting.